The scalpel slipped from Dr. Harlan's gloved hand, clattering against the sterile tile like a gunshot in the hushed or, as he stared at the chart in his trembling fist. Patient, Ryder Kane. Sexual orientation, gay. His face twisted into a mask of revulsion. The words, no, exploding from his lips before the anesthesiologist could even adjust the drip. Ryder's eyes snapped open on the gurney, the haze of pre-op meds shattering like glass under the weight of that single syllable, his heart slamming against his ribs as the room's fluorescent buzz turned into a roar. "What the fuck did you just say?" he rasped, voice raw from the intubation tube they'd yanked too soon, the betrayal hitting harder than the aneurysm threatening to burst in his skull. In that frozen heartbeat, the entire surgical team averted their eyes, nurses fiddling with 4 lines, techs staring at monitors, while Harlan ripped off his mask, spitting, "I won't touch you. Not like that. Find someone else to play hero for your lifestyle." The words hung like smoke from a Molotov, igniting the fire that would burn the hospital to the ground by dawn. Ryder Kane had always chased the American dream with the ferocity of a man who'd been told he didn't deserve it. Born in the Rust Belt grit of Pittsburgh to a steelworker dad who drank his disappointments and a mom who prayed them away, he'd clawed his way out at 18 with a scholarship to NYU and a backpack full of secrets. By 32, he was CEO of Kane Dynamics, a biotech firm in Manhattan that turned failing startups into gold mines, his office overlooking the Hudson like a king surveying his fractured empire. But success came with scars. Lovers who ghosted after boardroom whispers, colleagues who smiled through gritted teeth at the pride flag on his desk. Ryder wore his queerness like armor, tailored suits over ink-black tattoos of intertwined thorns, a reminder that love, for him, was always a beautiful wound. That Tuesday morning, the pain started as a whisper in his temple, a dull throb he dismissed as another all-nighter closing the Meridian deal. By noon, it was a sledgehammer, vision blurring as he gripped the edge of his glass desk, knuckles whitening against the city skyline. His assistant, Lena, a sharp-eyed black woman who'd been with him since the garage days, insisted on the ER at Mount Sinai, the best in the city, where money bought discretion and doctors didn't ask about your weekend unless it involved stock tips. "Boss, you're scaring me," she'd said, her voice steady but eyes wide, steering his Bentley through midtown traffic like she was dodging landmines. The admitting nurse, a harried woman named Carla with a crucifix necklace glinting under her scrubs, took one look at his chart, pulled from his company's executive health file, and flagged it for Dr. Elias Harlan, the head neurosurgeon, a legend in the field with a Wall Street Journal profile touting his unwavering ethics. Ethics. The word tasted like ash in Ryder's mouth as they wheeled him into pre-op, the morphine drip dulling the edges, but not the gnawing fear that this was it, the big one, the thing that finally caught up to a life lived at full throttle. He'd blacked out twice by the time they prepped him, waking to the sting of needles and the cold slap of monitors beeping his fragility. Harlan burst in like a storm front, mid-40s, salt and pepper hair slicked back, his white coat starched to perfection over a frame that screamed CrossFit and Sunday sermons. "Mr. Kane," he'd started, voice clipped as he scanned the MRI films glowing on the light box. An aneurysm the size of a grape, coiled like a viper in his brain, one rupture away from lights out. "We're looking at a clip-and-coil procedure. High risk, but I'm the best. You'll be back to whatever it is you do by Friday." Ryder had managed a weak grin, the drugs turning his sarcasm syrupy. "Closing deals and breaking hearts. Document make it quick. I got a gala Friday." Harlan's laugh was a bark, but his eyes had already darted to the fine print. Family history. None. Emergency contact. Lena Torres. Personal notes. Openly gay. Partner none. The pause was infinitesimal, a glitch in the matrix, but Ryder caught it, the way Harlan's jaw tightened like a trap snapping shut. Then came the scalpel drop, the no, the unraveling. The oar emptied like rats from a sinking ship, leaving Ryder strapped to the gurney, sweat slick and alone under the glare of those unforgiving lights. His phone buzzed from the tray. Lena, texting, in lobby. What's the holdup? He couldn't answer, couldn't move, the pain cresting like a wave about to drown him. Footsteps echoed back, not Harlan's but softer, hesitant, a young resident in seafoam scrubs, early 30s, with messy blonde curls escaping his surgical cap and eyes like smoked quartz, stormy with something fiercer than pity. "I'm Dr. Theo Lang," he said, voice low, urgent, as he checked the monitors, his hands steady where Harlan's had faltered. "I heard I'm sorry, that's not right. Not here, not ever. Theo's fingers brushed Ryder's wrist. Not clinical, not detached. A spark in the void. The first human touch since the world tilted. I can take over. I'm board certified in neuro, and I'll fight for you if I have to. Ryder searched those eyes, seeing the flicker of his own hidden battles. The kid from Ohio who'd come out at 16 and lost his baseball scholarship for it. The med student who'd scrubbed bathrooms to afford tuition after his parents cut him off. Why? Ryder whispered, the vulnerability cracking his voice. What's in it for you, hero? Theo's smile was crooked, laced with shadows. Redemption, maybe. Or just because I know what it's like to be the punchline in someone else's bigotry. He hit the call button, barking orders into the intercom for a new team, his presence a dam against the flood. By the time they wheeled Ryder into a fresh or Harlan's refusal documented in the logs like a scarlet letter. The aneurysm was pulsing, a time bomb Theo defused with precision, his hands a blur of grace and grit under the lights. Hours blurred into recovery haze, beeps and murmurs. Lena's hand in his as she whispered updates. The board was holding the fort, but whispers were spreading. Kane Dynamics stock dipping on rumors of his episode. Theo checked in at midnight, chart in hand, his shift ending but feet rooted. Vitals stable. You're a fighter, Ryder. The way he said the name, soft as a secret, uncoiled something in Ryder's chest. They talked then, morphine loosening tongues. Theo's divorce from a wife who'd called his coming out a phase. Ryder's string of hookups masking the ache for something real. New York's a meat market, Ryder joked, wincing as he shifted. Everyone's swiping right, but no one's swiping home. Theo laughed, a sound like rain on city streets, and stayed until dawn, their fingers brushing over the bedsheet, a promise unspoken. Discharge came Thursday, against medical advice, Ryder's stubbornness winning out. Theo walked him to the curb, Lena idling in the Bentley. Dinner? Theo asked, bold as brass, his card slipping into Ryder's palm like contraband. Not hospital slop. Real food. My treat. Ryder pocketed it, heart tripping. You're on, document. But if you poison me, I'll haunt your ass. Their goodbye hug lingered. Theo's cologne, cedar and salt, lingering longer, a tether in the chaos. Back at his Tribeca loft, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the glittering sprawl, Ryder dove into work, laptop glowing as he sealed the Meridian acquisition. But the headlines hit Friday morning, splashed across the Post and TMZ. Surgeon snubs gay mogul. Life on the line? Harlan's refusal leaked. Anonymous sources painting the hospital as a den of intolerance. Harlan as the bigot poster child. Protests brewed outside Mount Sinai, rainbow flags waving alongside picket signs. Healers, not haters. Ryder's phone exploded, reporters, allies, the HRC offering legal muscle. But it was Theo's text that gutted him. Saw the news. You okay? Harlan suspended, but it's ugly here. Call me. Ryder stared at the screen, thumb hovering, the vulnerability from the gurney creeping back. He typed back, better than okay. Dinner tonight? 8, Gramercy Tavern. Theo's reply, wouldn't miss it. The gala that night was a glittering farce, black ties and champagne flutes at the Met, donors toasting Ryder's miraculous recovery while side-eyeing his dateless arm. He slipped out early, heart racing as he cabbed downtown. Theo waiting at the bar in a navy button-down that hugged his swimmer's build, curls tamed but eyes wild. You clean up nice, Mr. Kane, Theo teased, clinking glasses, the Pinot Noir warming the chill between them. Dinner unfolded like a confession, Theo admitting he'd transferred to Sinai to escape a residency scandal. Accused of inappropriate conduct, with a male mentor, charges dropped, but reputation scarred. Ryder shared the ache of his last boyfriend, a Wall Street shark who'd bailed when the spotlight hit too hot. Love's a risk assessment, Ryder said, for pausing over seared scallops. And I'm tired of failing the audit. Theo reached across, hand covering his. Then let's rewrite the terms. Their first kiss happened in the cab ride home. Tentative then torrent, Theo's lips tasting of wine and want. Ryder's fingers tangling in those curls as Manhattan blurred past. At Ryder's loft, they tumbled through the door, shedding suits like skins, bodies mapping uncharted territories. Theo's freckles like constellations across his chest, Ryder's tattoos a roadmap of resilience. It was urgent, reverent, the kind of sex that stitches souls, whispers of stay, echoing into the small hours. Weeks bled into months, a whirlwind romance stitched from stolen shifts and corner office trysts. Theo moved in by spring, his scrubs swapped for Ryder's hoodies, their mornings a tangle of coffee and kisses overlooking the river. Kane dynamics boomed, Ryder's TED Talk on inclusive biotech going viral, Theo's quiet advocacy, anonymous op-eds on queer healthcare, earning him a fellowship at Columbia. They were the poster boys for second chances, hosting brunches for queer youth, their love a fuck you to the ghosts. But cracks spiderwebbed in the foundation. Harlan, it turned out, wasn't done. Reinstated after a slap-on-the-wrist suspension. Internal matter, the board called it. He lurked like a bad sequel, his glares in the halls icing Theo's resolve. He's poison, Theo muttered one night, scrolling emails in bed, Ryder's arm slung over his waist. Got a complaint logged against me, says I overstepped with you. Ryder sat up, fire kindling. Overstepped? He nearly killed me with his hate. He pulled Theo close, jaw set. We'll bury him. Lawyers on speed dial. Theo nodded, but doubt flickered, the kind that festers in men who've been burned before. Just be careful. Power like yours. It blindsides. Summer hit like a fever dream, pride marching through their veins as they danced on floats, sweat slick and euphoric under the rainbow confetti. Ryder proposed on a whim, down on one knee in Central Park at dusk, a platinum band glinting like a vow against the skyline. Theo said yes with tears, their engagement party a who's who of Manhattan's glitterati, toasts to the power couple rewriting the rules. But betrayal brews in the quiet hours. It came via email, anonymous, timestamp 2:17 a.m., grainy photos of Theo and Harlan in a Sinai supply closet, Harlan's hand on Theo's shoulder, timestamps from last winter, pre-Ryder, pre-everything. Ask your fiancé about his mentorship, the note read. Harlan's not the villain. You're. Ryder's world tilted again, worse than the aneurysm, as he confronted Theo over Dawn coffee, photos splayed on the marble island like evidence in a trial. Tell me it's nothing, he pleaded, voice breaking. The man who'd fired Theo's reduced to a boy begging for truth. Theo's face crumpled, hands shaking as he sank to the floor. It was experimental. Before I knew what I wanted. Harlan was my attending, pushing boundaries, power plays, not love. I ended it, reported it anonymously. That's why the transfer rumors. Tears carved tracks down his cheeks, raw and wrecked. I swear, Ryder, you're my everything now. This is my past clawing back. But doubt is a thief, stealing sleep, seeding silences. Ryder pulled away, nights on the couch scrolling donor lists, Theo's touches rebuffed like live wires. Harlan smelled blood, cornering Ryder in the hospital lobby during a follow-up, heard the fairy tales fraying. Careful, Kane. Doctors like us? We know how to cut deep. The climax erupted on a stormy October evening. Ryder's board meeting bleeding into a donor gala at the hospital's grand ballroom. Chandeliers dripping light over tuxedos and tension. Harlan was there, reinstated and smug, toasting excellence and care, while eyes darted to Ryder, the elephantine ghost of that or refusal. Theo hovered at the bar, nursing a scotch, his fellowship acceptance speech tucked in his pocket like armor. It started with a whisper, a nurse, Carla from admitting, pulling Ryder aside. Harlan's at it again. Just turned away a kid, 16, positive for everything, said not my problem because of, you know. The words ignited the fuse, Ryder storming the podium mid-toast, microphone snatched like a weapon. Ladies and gentlemen, he boomed, voice echoing off gilded walls, the room hushing as forks clattered. Excellence. Let's talk about that. 6 months ago, Dr. Harlan here decided my life wasn't worth saving because I'm gay. Refused surgery on a ticking bomb in my brain. Left me to die on a gurney while he played God. Gasps rippled, phones whipping out, Harlan's face blanching to parchment. Theo pushed through the crowd, eyes wide, but Ryder wasn't done. And now, he's targeting kids, the vulnerable ones we claim to protect. This isn't medicine, it's malice. As of 0800 tomorrow, Kane Dynamics pulls every grant, every partnership. The entire neurosurgery staff? Consider yourselves fired. Clean out your lockers. Chaos erupted. Shouts, flashes, Harlan lunging with a snarled, you can't. But security swarmed, Theo's hand finding riders in the melee, a lifeline amid the storm. They fled to the roof, rain lashing as thunder cracked, Ryder's chest heaving. I almost lost you to him, he choked, pulling Theo close. Can't let hate win. Theo cupped his face, rain mingling with tears. You didn't lose me. We're stronger than this shit. Their kiss was salt and fury, a reclamation under the deluge, the city lights blurring into absolution. The fallout was biblical. By sunrise, CNN looped the gala meltdown, headlines screaming, biotech billionaire purges hospital in gay rights storm. Kane Dynamics stock surged 15%, investors hailing Ryder as the Robin Hood of healthcare, while Mount Sinai's board scrambled, issuing apologies faster than stock plummets. Harlan vanished into administrative purgatory, his license under ethics review, whispers of lawsuits from the ACLU piling like snowdrifts. Ryder and Theo holed up in the loft, world raging outside their bubble. Mornings were tentative. Theo's fellowship deferred amid the scandal. Ryder's inbox a war zone of support and vitriol. "You're a hero," Lena said over takeout Thai, her pragmatic edge softened by pride. "But heroes bleed. You good?" Ryder glanced at Theo, dozing on the couch with case files splayed, curls a halo in the lamplight. Getting there. The betrayal lingered like a bruise, photos deleted but echoes resounding. Therapy helped. Joint sessions with a queer shrink in Chelsea. Unpacking Harlan's shadow. Theo's confessions spilling like catharsis. "He preyed on my confusion, made me think it was mentorship. I was lost, Ryder. You're my north." Nights mended slower, bodies rediscovering trust in the dark, slow explorations. Theo's whispers tracing Ryder's scars. "I love you," a mantra against the ghosts. They rebuilt, brick by vulnerable brick. Weekend getaways to the Hamptons, where salt air scrubbed the city's grime. Bonfires crackling as they swapped stories of boyhood crushes and first heartbreaks. Theo taught Ryder to surf, waves crashing like applause, Ryder's laughter free for the first time in months. "See? You're a natural," Theo grinned, pulling him upright, their wetsuits slick, the ocean a vast, indifferent witness to their joy. But America doesn't let its outcasts rest easy. Back in the city, the counterblows landed. Harlan's allies, old money donors, evangelical board members, sued Kane Dynamics for defamation, claiming religious freedom in their bigotry. Protests flipped, anti-LGBTQ+ groups picketing Ryder's office with signs, "God hates fags, save our doctors." Online, trolls dox Theo, his old residency pics twisted into memes. Slutty surgeon seduces for spots. Ryder armored up, press conferences his battlefield. "This isn't about faith, it's about fear. Denying care because of who I love? That's not American, that's medieval." His words went viral, allies rallying, glad spotlights, celebrity retweets from Elton John. But privately, the toll mounted, sleepless nights, Ryder pacing the loft's Persian rugs, Theo's arms a harbor he sometimes couldn't reach. The turning point came in December, snow blanketing the village like forgiveness. A call from Carla, the nurse. "That kid Harlan turned away? He's stable now, thanks to a new clinic you're funding. Name it after you too." Ryder choked up, handing the phone to Theo, their eyes locking in that electric understanding. Love is action, not just words. Christmas was theirs alone, a tree strung with rainbow lights in the loft, stockings bulging with inside jokes, a scalpel-shaped keychain for Theo, a biotech stock certificate framed as art for Ryder. They made love by the fire, slow and sacred, Theo's body arching under him like a wave cresting, gasps mingling with carols from the street below. "Marry me tomorrow?" Theo murmured after, fingers tracing Ryder's jaw. "Vegas. No fuss, just us." Ryder laughed, heart full. "Hell yes. Elvis officiating, baby." Vegas was a fever of neon and vows. The little white chapel at Kitsch Cathedral where they pledged forever in gold lame. Rings exchanged under twinkling stars projected on the ceiling. "I do," Ryder said, voice steady, Theo's "I do" a vow that sealed the fractures. Back in New York, the wedding, small, fierce, on a Hudson rooftop at sunset, drew their tribe. Lena as best woman, queer activists toasting with craft IPAs, the skyline a silent benediction. But humanism demands reckoning. Harlan's trial loomed spring, a spectacle in federal court, his defense trotting out sincerely held beliefs, like shields. Ryder testified, voice unflinching. "He didn't just refuse me, he erased me. In that moment, I wasn't a patient, I was a sin." Theo followed, detailing the coercion, his composure cracking only once, tears for the boy he'd been. The jury deliberated 2 days, verdict, guilty on discrimination, license revoked, $1 million settlement to queer health initiatives. Outside the courthouse, rain-slick steps thronged with press, Ryder and Theo hand in hand, rings glinting. "Justice isn't revenge," Ryder told the mics, Theo's grip grounding him. "It's space for healing. For all of us." The crowd cheered, a chorus of voices long silenced. Life settled into rhythms deeper than drama. Kane Dynamics pivoted, launching Kane Care, mobile clinics for underserved LGBTQ+ communities, Theo heading the neuro division, his fellowship a triumph. They adopted a rescue mutt named Harlan. Irony their armor. Walks in Washington Square Park a daily ritual, coffee steaming as leaves turned. Ryder's novel, a memoir disguised as fiction, hit bestsellers. Pulse Point, tales of love's precarious beat. Yet nights brought whispers of what-ifs. Curled in bed, Theo's head on Ryder's chest, heartbeat a lullaby. Think we'd have found this without the storm? Ryder kissed his temple, Cedar sent home. Storms make rainbows, document. And ours? It's the whole damn sky. Years folded like pages. A surrogacy journey yielding a son, Elias, after no one. A clean slate. Their brownstone in Brooklyn a haven of chaos and crayons. Ryder mentored queer startups. Theo lectured on ethical medicine. Their love the quiet revolution. Betrayal's scar faded to silver. A reminder that humanity thrives in the mending. On their 10th anniversary, back at Gramercy Tavern, same table, Ryder raised a glass. To us, the refusal that built an empire. Theo clinked, eyes sparkling, to the fire that forged it. And in that toast, the American dream redeemed, not perfect, but profoundly theirs. The first anniversary came quiet, a deliberate hush after Vegas's flash. They drove upstate to a cabin in the Catskills, leased under Lena's name for anonymity. Ryder's fame a double-edged sword now, paparazzi tailing like stray dogs. The air was crisp with pine and possibility, leaves a riot of red and gold underfoot as they hiked to a overlook, Theo's hand warm in his, the Hudson Valley sprawling like a promise kept. Remember the gurney? Theo asked, breath fogging as they paused, backs against an ancient oak. Thought that was the end. Ryder pulled him close, wool scarves tangling. Nah, that was the spark. Their kiss tasted of trail mix and tenderness, the world shrinking to heartbeat and horizon. Evenings by the fire, they read aloud from Pulse Point's galleys, Theo's voice hitching at the scene, Ryder's annotations scribbled in margins. This is us. Unbreakable. Back in Brooklyn, the brownstone a fixer-upper they'd gutted together, exposed brick and salvaged beams. Life wove domestic magic. Elias arrived on a sweltering July dawn 2 years later, 7 pounds of squall and wonder, surrogacy papers signed in a notary's blur. He has your eyes, Theo whispered in the delivery room, exhausted joy etching his face as he cradled their son, Ryder's tears blurring the sterile white. Naming him Elias felt right. Hebrew for the Lord is my God, but to them, it was hope, a middle finger to Harlan's holy hypocrisy. Fatherhood was a revelation, raw and refining. Mornings dissolved into symphony. Elias's gurgles over oatmeal, Theo's stethoscope dangling from a high-chair hook, Ryder video calling investors from the kitchen island. Ty ask you, Daddy's changing the world, and your diaper. He'd quip, Elias's laughter a bomb for boardroom battles. Kane Care expanded, clinics popping in the Bronx and Queens, Theo's team pioneering protocols for queer trauma, mental health tie-ins, hormone-affirming care. You're building cathedrals, a patient told him once, a trans teen with scarred wrists, now thriving. Theo came home hollowed that night, collapsing into Ryder's lap. Some days, it's not enough. The system's still a meat grinder. Ryder held him, fingers combing curls. Then we sharpened the blades. They did, lobbying Albany for bills, Ryder's Rolodex a weapon, Theo's data the ammo. Victory stacked, a state mandate for LGBTQ+ sensitivity training, funding spikes for community health. But romance, that wild heart, demanded tending. Date nights carved from chaos. Babysitter Lena commandeered, took them to jazz dives in Harlem. Theo's head on Ryder's shoulder as sax whales wove their story. Sex evolved, less urgent, more intimate. Lazy Sundays in sheets tangled with newspapers. Theo's mouth mapping Ryder's thighs. Whispers of mine gasped against skin. You're my miracle, Ryder'd murmur after, tracing the constellation of freckles, their bodies a testament to survival's sweetness. Conflict simmered beneath, though, betrayal's aftershocks. Theo's fellowship mentor, Dr. Reyes, a sharp Latina neurosurgeon, pulled him aside post-trial. Harlan wasn't alone. Whispers of a network, donors shielding bigots. Theo confided in Ryder over whiskey neat, firelight dancing. What if it's bigger? What if I miss signs? Ryder's jaw clenched, old fire flaring. Then we burn it down. Again. But doubt crept, a serpent in their Eden. Elias's first steps, toddling into Theo's legs at a park picnic, sparked joy, but Ryder caught Theo's distant stare, phone buzzing with encrypted text from Reyes. Work, Theo dismissed, but the seed planted. Summer 33 brought the storm's echo. An expose in the Atlantic, the hidden homophobes of healthcare. Named names. Harlan a footnote, but a shadowy cabal exposed. Board members funneling funds to faith-based alternatives, sidelining queer care. Kane Dynamics was targeted, audits triggered by planted leaks claiming ethical lapses in Kane care, falsified, but venomous. Ryder raged in the study, papers flying. They're coming for us. For Elias. Theo, calm as scalpel steel, piece the puzzle. Reyes has proof. But going public? It risks everything. My license, the clinics. The argument erupted at dusk, Elias napping upstairs, voices echoing off beams. Everything? This is our life. Ryder shouted, betrayal's ghost rising. You had the photos once, now what? Protecting your career over us. Theo recoiled, eyes flashing hurt. That's not fair. I'm fighting Ryder, every day. But if we swing wild, we lose it all. Silence stretched, taut as a suture, until Theo crossed the room, hands framing Ryder's face. I love you too much to gamble blind. Trust me. Ryder searched those quartz depths, seeing the boy from the gurney, the man who'd stayed. Always. They made up fiercely, bodies colliding on the rug, apologies etched in moans, the fight forging them tighter. Reyes's evidence dropped like a grenade. Emails, wire transfers, a donor list linking to Harlan's church. The scandal swallowed headlines, congressional hearings summoned, Kane Dynamics lawyers feasting. Ryder testified again, Elias on his hip in a photo op that humanized the rage. This isn't politics, it's parents protecting their kids. Theo's role shown, expert witness, unflappable, his op-ed in the Times, healing from within, a manifesto for reform. The cabal crumbled, resignations cascading, federal probes launched. In the aftermath, they honeymooned in Maine. Elias with Lena, lobster boils and lighthouse walks. Theo's proposal renewal under Aurora Borealis. Forever starts now. Parenting deepened the romance. Elias's questions a mirror. Why do some people hate daddy? Theo fielded, voice gentle. Fear me, Joe. But love? That's the cure. Ryder watched, heart swelling, their triad unbreakable. By Elias's 5th birthday, a backyard bash with face paint and fairy wings, Ryder reflected in a journal. We were refused, fired back, and rose. That's the American queer story, not unbroken, but beautifully bent. The decade mark brought introspection, a quiet audit of scars and stars. Elias, now 10, a whirlwind of soccer cleats and science fairs, cornered Ryder one autumn eve in the brownstone's garden, rake in hand, leaves piling like memories. Dad, were you scared? When the bad doctor said no? Ryder knelt, hazel eyes meeting his son's, Theo's legacy in miniature. Terrified, kiddo. But fear's just the door. Your pops? He kicked it down. Elias hugged him fierce, small arms a vow. As Theo appeared, wheelbarrow groaning with mulch. Story time later, Theo winked, ruffling dark curls. With popcorn. Evenings evolved, family game nights devolving into charades. Ryder's dramatic aneurysm reenactments earning groans and giggles. Theo's practice thrived. Kane Care network spanning coasts. His textbook, Neuroethics in the Margins, required reading at Johns Hopkins. Ryder, semi-retired at 42, mentored via Zoom. His podcast Pulse Check, Dissecting Power's Perils. Guest from trans activists to ex-bigots seeking redemption. Romance ripened. A vintage wine. Anniversaries in Paris. Eiffel Tower kisses under mist, or quiet nights at Coney Island. Ferris wheel creaking as they swayed, Elias whooping below. Intimacy was poetry now, Theo's fingers knowing every freckle, Ryder's breath hitching at an earlobe nip, their love a language of glances across crowded rooms. Yet drama whispers eternal. A letter arrived spring 42, postmarked Pittsburgh, Ryder's hometown, ghost of steel mills and silences. Harlan, post-prison, a cushy minimum for his plea, penitent and pauperized, seeking forgiveness workshop, inclusion at a Kane Care retreat. I've changed, the scrawl begged. Your story broke me open. Ryder stared at the envelope, pulse thundering like that, or dawn. Theo found him in the study, letter trembling. Burn it, Theo said, but softer, or read it. Closure's your call. The retreat was in the Berkshires, Rolling Hills a balm for old wounds. Ryder went alone. Theo minding Elias, their goodbye kiss laden. Come back whole. Harlan waited in the circle, thinner, grayer, eyes downcast as participants shared, survivors of conversion camps, nurses fired for allyship. When his turn came, Harlan's voice cracked. I was the monster, raised on fire and brimstone, saw sin in mirrors. Refusing you? My shame's eternal. Ryder spoke last, voice steady thunder. You didn't just hurt me. You hurt medicine's soul. But hate's a disease, curable if you fight. No handshake, but a nod, humanity's fragile bridge. Driving home, tears blurred the dusk, phone call to Theo spilling catharsis. He's broken. Like we were. Forgiveness didn't erase, it aerated soil for growth. Harlan volunteered at a clinic, anonymous, his story anonymized in Pulse Check's finale episode. Redemption's not a sequel. Listeners flooded inboxes, thank yous from the reformed, hope from the hurting. Elias's bar mitzvah, blended traditions, rainbow talith over his shoulders, marked the pivot. Under the chuppah in a Brooklyn synagogue, family and tribe gathered. Ryder's vows to Theo renewed in Hebrew whispers. You are my light. Elias's speech, precocious and piercing. My dad's taught me. Love wins because it fights dirty, with heart. Post-ceremony, at the reception in Prospect Park, Lena pulled Ryder aside, silver threading her braids. You did it, boss. From Gurney to this? Legend. He clinked her glass, eyes on Theo dancing with Elias, curls silver-flecked now. We did it. All of us. The bike hitch ending unfolded gently, as humanism does. In their 50th year, Ryder gray at temples, Theo's laugh lines a map of mirth. A quiet aneurysm revisited, not crisis but checkup, Theo's hands steady on the scan. All clear, he announced, kissing knuckles. But life's the risk. They traveled then, Elias off at Stanford, med student following ghosts, to national parks, Zion's Red Rocks a sermon in stone. One dusk, perched on a ledge, Ryder turned to Theo. If I go first, haunt me. If you, same deal. Theo's grin crooked. Deal. Eternity's our sequel. Ryder passed at 68, peacefully in the brownstone, Theo's hand in his, Elias at bedside reading from Pulse Point. The funeral was a carnival of color. Rainbow hearse, speeches from presidents and patients, Harlan in the back row, tears unbidden. Theo lived to 92, clinic founder emeritus, his memoir's second cut a bestseller, proceeds to queer youth. On his last night, surrounded by great-grandkids, he whispered to the empty chair, refused? Nah, we rewrote the chart. In the end, their story wasn't triumph or tragedy, but testament. Love, refused, reclaims its pulse, firing staffs and forging families, one defiant beat at a time. America, in its vast, flawed heart, bent toward them.